Welcome to another episode of Pilots Say What, where we get to hear what pilots have to say, where we talk about all things general aviation. We like to talk to CFIs, current students, and sometimes airline pilots. And today I'll be talking with Guy, who's one of our CFIs. You're still getting used to this role, so it'll be interesting to kind of hear about that transition from being a student to being an instructor. My name is Zach. We do this podcast from week to week here at Thrust Flight. And we're excited to kind of get this going. Would you mind giving yourself a brief introduction?
Yeah, Guy Bassett. I came from, born and raised here around Dallas. Ended up coming to Thrust about just over a year ago, last June. Got through the program, finished up in May, and went through the interview process, got the job, and just started here about 3 weeks ago.
Okay, gotcha. When did you say you started the program?
Last June. Yeah.
Last June. Okay, gotcha. So about how long are we saying it took you, if you don't mind sharing?
Let's see. That would be just over. Would that be just over 10 months? I think June to May.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Just
do
over
the
10
math.
months, I think. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Someone called me out in the comments one
Yeah.
time, and I'll never forget it. They're like, he doesn't know how to count his
Hard
months.
to do the math in the head.
Yeah, especially on the spot.
Mhm.
No, but that's good to hear. I always like to ask because it varies. The
does.
program is designed obviously for like 9 months, but it's not like a requirement.
Yep.
Hey, if you get through 9 months, that's great. 10 months is good.
Yeah.
You started at private?
I did. Started from the bottom, so got it all the way through.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Did you do anything aviation related before this?
No, I did nothing aviation related before this. I was in the Army, and then
Okay.
I did like security contracting, and that was about it. And
Yeah.
then decided to do the aviation thing. So,
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, then, of course, that begs the question: when did you get into the idea of aviation? When did it even get on your radar?
I mean, since I was a kid, my
Yeah.
father and my grandfather, they were always real interested in aviation, I
Yeah.
should say. Neither of them really flew. My dad got a couple hours here and there, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was always something I was really interested in. Planes, helicopters, anything that flew, I loved it.
That's cool.
I always wanted to fly. I didn't
Mhm.
really know kind of the pathway to get there, anything like that.
Yeah.
Once I was in the military, I thought about going and flying with them.
Hmm.
That path didn't really work out for me. So once I got out, I started looking around, and I didn't realize how, I guess, accessible it was to do on the civilian side.
Right.
I I knew people went and got their private pilot license, and I guess I was always under the assumption that most pilots were just like ex-military guys.
Yeah, me too.
So yeah, I actually realizing how accessible it was, I did a little bit of research, started
Yeah.
finding the different schools, and then yeah, ended up finding Thrust.
That's sick. Yeah, I think that I didn't even understand that before I got involved with Rust. First of all, that how many people fly? I
Mhm.
mean, how many people are just even into aviation?
Right.
I think I'm realizing recently. I've moved around when I was younger, and I was in a small town, so
Mhm.
you weren't really actually around the planes and seeing them fly or anything like that.
Nope.
Other than every now and then I got on a commercial flight. I just realized now in Dallas or the DFW in general. I mean, there's planes everywhere flying all the time. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
it's a busy airspace, obviously.
Oh yeah.
But that when you're younger, you get to see that. I didn't realize how visible it was, and until when you get like a car. Let's say you got a Honda for the first time, you see them all over the road.
Mhm.
It's like that now. I mean, I
Yep.
see the planes and aviation everywhere now.
Oh yeah.
So, well, that's cool. It sounds like you came to a point where you finally wanted to kind of take a little bit more action on it.
Mhm.
Can you tell me a little bit about that? Because you go to the military, and at some point you're like, I'm gonna not stay in the military, and then at some point you're also like, let me get started. Can you kind of break that timeline down for me?
Yeah. So I did 6 years in the military. Got out, and I was just doing like just security gigs.
Yeah,
Like the security guard you see around.
yeah, okay.
So I was doing security gigs like that, and I was working abysmal hours. Not that being a pilot, I won't run into some abysmal hours in the future, but it was pretty rough on me and my family, and I'm
Okay,
like, I really have to make a change and go for something different.
okay,
Um, and like I said, I ended up finding how, I guess, accessible it is to
yeah.
get into this. I talked to the wife, and we were both like, let's go for it. Let's
Yeah.
push our boundaries, see what we can do.
And so, was
Um,
there like a moment there? Because you said like it was a little rough on your family. You say you have a wife. I could understand those hours being tough. Um, I guess I'm wondering though, was there like, I'm tired. I don't want to go into work today. I got to do something now. Like, did it get to a point, or
I
was it
think it was
soft?
more an
Or
accumulation of things.
yeah.
I wasn't seeing my kid, wasn't seeing my wife, and I'm like, I
Okay. Okay.
really have to get something changed. This isn't really the life I want to live. It is sustainable. I could keep doing this. The money was there.
Okay.
Um, I just didn't want to live that life,
Okay.
and so I wanted to do something where also it felt like I was kind of stuck in a way, and I was like, I need to
Yes.
go for something that's going to fulfill me and kind of my goals, and also take care of my family, take care of me,
Yeah.
um, do both things at the same time.
I think that stuck feeling is what a lot of people relate to.
Yeah.
I think in every part of like working,
Oh yeah.
many people get to a point where they feel that way. That way, would you say this is technically like your third career? I mean, military, like then security, and then
Career wise, yeah, I would say so. I've had
yeah,
a few jobs here and there in
right.
between, but yeah,
I,
yeah.
I guess the reason I asked that is because people go into things that like do that aren't capped, but they still
Hmm.
end up feeling that way,
Yep.
and they look for the next thing. And I think that it has to do with maybe getting a little older and realizing, okay, I want to start fresh one more time.
Yep.
Um, well, I'm glad you made that change. How did that conversation go with
Uh,
your wife?
well, I'm kind of a guy that if I want to do something in my life, I have to know all the facts before I do it. I got all of the facts. I did all the research. I figured out, okay, this is what flight school looks like. This is what the
Mm,
career looks like.
mm-hmm.
Um, this is what I have to do to get to this point.
Right.
Laid it all out in front of her, and
Mm,
I was basically like, hey, I think this could be really good for us.
wow.
And she's always been really supportive of me and all of my goals.
Mm,
And so we decided, together that this is going to benefit us in the long run a lot more than anything else right now. So
yeah. I want to ask one more thing about that, if you don't mind.
yeah,
Maybe it's more personal for me to ask because I want to know because you kind of have to because it affects your family, not just you,
it
right?
does. Yeah.
But that's its own thing to understand in of itself. It's hard to get to a point where you realize you can't just make decisions for yourself anymore,
Hmm.
and that everyone's just gotta ride along with you. So, like, what did you have to do in your mind there? Was that difficult for you to kind of sit there and think, like, I need to convince someone, or I don't know?
I don't necessarily know if it was a convincing thing.
Right, right.
Like I said, with my wife, she's always been
Okay.
very supportive of me with that. And so it was something I wanted to do. And whether we did it then or we did it, a few years down the line,
Right.
I think it would have happened either way.
Okay.
Uh, it's just, I think, being ready and being prepared the best we
Cool.
could be before we went into this whole new life that we're in now.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
That's really cool. That's
yeah,
really cool. I think a lot of people. You have to have kind of a certain kind of confidence in what you're about to do, though. Is it
you do.
not scary because you're coming to your wife, you're talking about the things you have to do together, and then you're gonna put yourself in a position to where it's kind of. I feel like when people do this, it's kind of all in.
It is.
So yeah. What was going through your mind? Were you nervous? I'm sorry, I'm harping on like a specific
No,
time,
you're good.
but yeah.
Yeah, no. I mean, yeah, I think it was a little bit of I didn't really know what was next.
Okay.
So you have this idea of it, right? And
Right.
it's okay. This is what it looks like. You don't really know what's going to happen.
Hmm.
Um, I was nervous. I was excited. All the feelings.
Yes, sir. Yeah, you
I
just
don't know.
you did the
We
planning, you figured out the details,
exactly.
and
We
you
were
and
ready
you
to
went
go.
for it.
It is.
So
It is
yeah,
scary. It is. It's a big change. Like
yeah,
everything did change for us, right?
right.
So, um, everything changed. Of course, your finances change for a
Yes,
while.
sir.
You have to go through it a little bit
Yep.
to get to where you want to be.
Yeah.
And yeah, we ended up figuring it out, and it's
Cool.
worked
Sweet, sweet.
amazingly for us.
So you start looking in. You say you want to do this. You said you're the kind of guy who gets your ducks in a row.
Yep.
Uh, that means you probably did research on where you want to get flight training, how you want to get flight training, how long you want to spend on it, how much money you want to spend on it. Uh, Obviously, you ended up at Thrust, but I'm curious about what went into that process. Like, how'd you kind of break it down, just in case someone's listening and they're
Sure.
thinking, "I want to do my research too."
Yeah. I mean, I guess the research process for me is I knew nothing about going into flight school. So
Hmm.
I didn't even know where to start, like what to look for, uh, what planes I'm looking for, how I want it to go, right?
Right.
So I started researching pretty much every school I could, and
Mm,
I was mainly looking for like the idea of like the Part 141. I want to get done quick. I want to get all these ratings and start working.
right.
Um, and so I started looking around. I talked to a few different schools. Um, I figured out, okay, this is how they do their training. This is how their planes are. This is their
Yeah.
maintenance. All the different things that go into it.
Hmm.
And I came and I toured Thrust and I talked to the missions.
Yeah.
Um, and I think right away it was pretty much it sealed the deal. I came and I found out and I was like, okay, this is great. This is
Yeah.
exactly what I want it to be.
Yeah.
Especially, a few of the things when I toured the school, the big thing for me was I saw all the students there and they were sitting around studying, hanging out together. It seemed I know Thrust likes to harp on that, like the family culture.
Yeah.
It is a real thing though.
Yeah. Because
And
everyone says that, which I understand why, but like
yeah,
we didn't do it. You
yeah,
guys did it. So,
and
yeah.
that's part of it that sold me on it.
Hmm.
Is seeing that that I was able to work with people that all had the same goal in mind.
Right.
That's a big thing for me. I like being around people that are all real goal oriented. We're going to the same places,
Makes sense.
and of course, it helps that it's great planes, great instructors.
Hmm.
Everything else that goes with it. So
Sweet. A lot of people say that when they come in, they see the students, and that makes a big difference. It's kind of weird because I feel like aviation is so practical, but it also has these little nuggets of like things you just kind of can tell,
yeah,
including when you're flying the plane. Like you got to feel it, right? Even no matter how technical it gets. And when
exactly.
you guys come in and you say, "I don't know, man, it felt different." I don't know. I like that answer. So,
Yeah.
um, you knew you seem to like have figured out what you needed to know about the school before you decided, and but you didn't know when you called your first school, probably, right?
Yeah.
You probably never thought about the maintenance and how that affects
Sure.
plane availability and how that could affect the speed you move through your program.
Hmm.
Um, is that something you kind of figured out once you started calling?
Once I started talking to people, I started doing research, looking things up online and
Hmm.
seeing what other people had to say about, flight schools and how you
Okay.
should go about it. Uh, so yeah, definitely that's a big thing about Thrust that
Yeah.
helps you get through in such a timely manner
Yeah.
is everything is maintained and it's organized well. It gets you through.
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about, oh, I'm not going to be able to fly for a month. All the planes
Right.
are gone. So yeah,
Yeah. We try really hard to do that. All our, I think none of our archers are older than like 2023,
I believe so. Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know how Patrick works that out, but we have some new planes. If you guys are listening, you want to check out the planes. We do discovery flights. I will go ahead and do a shameless plug real quick. If you guys are looking to at least get the feeling of aviation, you've been watching stuff on YouTube for a while or looking stuff up, and maybe you're a little nervous. Maybe you see all of the things that go wrong now after starting your research, because that's part of the journey too. Just Google flight school near me. It doesn't have to be Thrust. If we are nearby, come check us out. But what you call a discovery flight is kind of like a test drive. You don't have to have a license to see what it feels like to fly the plane. You're in there with a certified flight instructor that knows what they're doing, and they'll take you up and let you see how it feels. So check it out. Did you do a discovery flight?
No, I did
You
not.
did not do a
I didn't
discovery
do a
flight.
discovery flight. I
That's
never
wild.
got into a plane smaller than any airliner until I literally took off for the first time here.
That's
I know
actually pretty.
it's pretty crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. Well, can you? Okay, so let's zoom out a little bit. You've gone through this journey. You're like, man, it's time for that next stage of my life, and all this is built up to like I started, but you still haven't gotten in the plane yet. So, can you tell me about maybe some of your first flights and even your first solo, first landing, first takeoff, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean that first flight, I had no idea what to expect. I've been in planes before, but they're
Right.
all large, 737 stuff like that. Um, that first takeoff, I didn't know what was going on. It felt like a lot, and then we get up and he starts having me practice stalls and slow flight and things like this. I'm like,
Off the
there's
bat.
there's no way you want me to stall this airplane. I had no clue what was going on.
You hear the
There's
noise
Oh
going
my
on.
gosh. Yeah, no, it was but after, I got my feet under me after a flight or so.
Hmm.
And I was like, okay, this isn't as bad as I thought. And, I got
Yeah.
into it. The first few landings, they were pretty rough. I have some stories about that, but they were
Yeah.
pretty rough. Um, and then, yeah, the first solo, it was, I felt like I was well prepared for that.
Hmm.
It's a pretty quick process to get you there, but I was ready to go at that point, and I felt really confident in myself. My instructor felt confident in me
Right.
to do that. So
It's one thing I like to highlight sometimes. I guess we haven't really talked about it in a while, but uh, I didn't realize how quickly you go from never flying a plane to flying it by yourself. Talking about with no one else in the plane. You take off, you land, and that's your first solo, right? What is it, a couple weeks?
yeah, I mean, yeah, realistically, yeah, you're not
Yeah.
in the plane that long before you're up by yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that sounds a little outrageous. Being around it now, it sounds a little less outrageous
sure.
because I see what all goes into it.
Hmm.
I just like to point that out if you're listening. Like, if you join a flight school, anything like thrust flight, anyways, that's accelerated and has the resources to do so, we can get you taking off and landing in a plane by yourself in like a couple weeks,
Yeah,
which sounds pretty wild. That's coming from someone who's never did anything like that before. So.
I hadn't. No.
Um, I do want to ask you about your training. We've
Sure.
been talking a little while about, how you got where you are. But I want to ask you about becoming a CFI.
Hmm.
It's a big milestone. So first I'll ask, like, you know, I, what was it like leading up to trying to get a CFI position? And can you tell me about, what it's like having had started as a CFI now? You only about a month in, right?
Yeah, just about
So
a month now. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, there's always that pressure. You're going through school,
Hmm.
right? While I was in school, it was I was single track mindset
Yeah.
there. I was focused on getting through school and doing the best I possibly could there,
Right.
um, and learning as much as I could, prepping myself for that next step.
Yes, sir.
You go through that interview process. It's definitely nerve wracking.
Hmm.
It's not an easy market nowadays to get a CFI
Yeah.
job, so it's definitely nerve wracking.
Right.
And But getting through that process, going through that, it taught me a lot.
Yeah.
Patience and okay, I did the work. It's going to pay off.
Right.
And then actually getting that job was a huge weight off my shoulders.
Yes, sir.
But that's just the first step, and now I'm back at the start. So I have to get myself to the level I need to be as a CFI and
Yeah.
continue improving and continue growing. So
Yeah. It that has to kind of hit you though once you get the position. I'm sure you get in there and you're like, oh wait a second, like now I'm like at the bottom of the totem pole again. Is how it might feel. I would
yep.
imagine. So you're a CFI now. Have you started training people, and how do they kind of work you into getting better and more equipped as a CFI?
Actually, so I've trained a few students now.
Hmm.
The What's I've noticed that's improved me as a CFI is
Yeah.
you go through the training and you're learning how to be an instructor.
Right.
You learn how to do it, you learn how to teach it, you have all the knowledge, right? But
Okay.
then you actually get in the plane with a student and you have to really apply all that.
Hmm.
So I'm in the plane and I have to, I really have to be on top of my game with everything.
Mm.
I have to be ready for any question, any situation that could arise,
Right.
to help the student figure it out, or if there's like a safety thing, I have to be ready for that, whatever it
Right.
is. So constantly staying on top of my game, it's helped me a lot there.
It's weird because I hear every time I talk to a new CFI or any CFI, I guess, about becoming one. Uh, there's always the topic about, like, it's a different thought process, and it's always hard to encapsulate like the difference between being a student in a plane, and being a CFI in a plane, especially when you're a little newer. Like you talk about safety,
Hmm.
like that's usually something that comes up. It's a big deal to think that you are the one that's kind of the safety net in this scenario. But on top of that, you're kind of responsible for making sure the student gets the most out of everything. So now you're thinking about safety, but you're also like being a bit, I don't know, strategic
Hmm.
about like how to help the student.
Yep.
You kind of just are getting in there, but I'm wondering what sort of what sort of thought process, like, do you have in there when they're asking you questions? Is that too broad of a question?
Uh,
You know what I mean?
no, I can kind of.
Yeah.
I'll work with it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, especially as a CFI, you're dealing with a lot of things at once,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So of course you're watching safety things. Of course, what is the student doing? You're also watching traffic, right, and
Yeah.
keeping an eye on all weather, all the different things that are happening. You're also trying to manage the student's time, manage it well, so they
Okay.
get the best bang for their buck there, and it's an
Right.
efficient flight. You're not wasting their time,
Right.
and also at the same time watching. Say there's a deficiency with the student, trying to improve that, helping them work through that, finding the best way to help get to the
Mm.
student and help them understand what you're seeing and how they can improve. So it is a lot of things that culminate.
Yeah.
Um, After you kind of start getting your flow down and how it works.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That makes sense. And you see what they respond to and things like that. And everyone's
exactly.
different, so you got to adjust either way. And then last thing on this is, how does that compare to what you're thinking about as a student when you're in the plane? Because it's different. Obviously, that's what we're talking about. Like, what were you thinking about when you were growing up as a student, as opposed to that?
Yeah, I mean, going up as a student, you're really focused on your learning. You're
Yeah.
trying to get better,
Yeah.
and you're not so much. Yeah, of course, you're still focused on the safety and stuff like that, but you still kind of have that in the back of your mind. Okay, my instructor's still gonna
Okay.
be there for me and
Yeah.
watch all these things and make sure everything's good. As you get further along in your ratings, of course, that's more important for you to start focusing on those things.
Yeah.
Um, but really you are focused on the learning, and I need to get these things right because I need to do this to pass
Mhm.
this and get this rating, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it's interesting to think that your world goes from thinking about this to including someone else
Yep.
when you're an instructor. I guess.
Yeah.
Um, do they start you off with like instrument students, or how do they do that? Because
Uh
I don't know. They don't just throw you in there with privates, right?
no, no,
Okay.
you don't get privates. You have to have 100 dual given to do that here. So,
Okay.
yep.
Is that a standard or is that just a thrust
I
thing?
think it's just a thrust thing
Okay.
here. Yeah, some places will let you start right off with privates, which I understand. You know, you
Got to
a
get
little
it
more
in.
experience, it
Yeah.
helps.
Yeah.
No, I started off with a commercial student, and then I was lucky enough to get put into a position to be a multi-engine instructor.
That's
So I
sick.
have a couple of multi-engine students, and then I have a double I right now. So,
Okay, sweet. So that
yep,
you're rolling,
yep,
or you're flying.
I am. Yes.
uh, the multi-engine, you say you're lucky enough to kind of get to work on some of that training. Is that something that people want often?
Yeah, I mean, multi-engine. If you can get a position where you are flying multi-engine planes, and especially being an MEI and
Yeah.
instructing in them, you're getting plenty of multi-engine hours. You know, it's
Oh, I didn't
great.
think about it that way.
It's a great
Yeah.
thing. It's a it's a very important part of their training,
Okay.
and it sets the baseline for most of the rest of their career. You know,
Wow.
flying multi-engine stuff. So, um,
And you get your hours on your side
yep,
and a little more experience flying a plane with two engine, which is kind of fun, I
of
guess.
course, yeah,
Can I ask you a little bit more about?
sure,
I haven't actually talked about our Seminoles at all,
yeah.
and it doesn't have to be a Seminole wherever you guys may be flying. But can you feel like how much different does it feel? I've ridden in the Seminole,
Mhm.
but obviously I haven't flown it. I'm not a pilot.
Yeah.
Uh, can you feel the difference in the power?
Yeah, I mean it's a little faster, especially when you take off. It puts you a little bit more back in your seat
Okay.
than in the Archer.
I mean, I
Um,
know it's not a performance kind of
of
thing,
course,
but
it's still a training aircraft,
yeah,
right? But you definitely can.
yeah.
There's definitely a lot more going on, a lot more power. You're moving faster.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, I asked that because I'm curious about. Did you kind of look forward to getting to do your multi-engine training when you were in your training?
Oh yeah, I did. I think when I was doing it, it was the multi-engine we did at the end of the program. Now they've
Yes,
switched it to after the commercial, so
I actually didn't know that.
it felt like the cherry on top for me, and it was like, okay, this is gonna be the coolest thing. I was so excited to do multi-engine,
Okay,
and then they started offering the MEI training too.
right, right.
So I had enough time that I hadn't gone into, and I was
Okay,
able to do that, and it was really
that's pretty
great.
sick. That's sick,
Yeah.
man. Can you break down for the listeners? I'm going to ask you a bit more about your training after this one, but just to start at a high overview, if anyone's listening, you may not understand how it works when you're going for a career focused kind of program. So can you break down how we do it at Thrust in terms of what ratings you have to get and what order we do them in, and maybe a little bit. I'll ask you more after that, I guess. So.
Sure. Yeah. So you start off at private,
Hmm.
and then you do your instrument rating,
Hmm.
and after that, you go ahead and get your commercial rating,
Hmm.
and then we go directly into our commercial multi-engine rating.
Okay.
Then after that, we do our CFI rating. So you'll do CFI and then CFI, CFII, so flight instructor instrument
Okay.
to finish it off.
Gotcha. And
And then
so
if you want multi-engine instructor after that.
in your training,
Yes.
you seem to have made it through at a reasonable rate.
Yeah.
You start with people at in a class and a ground course, and a group ground course, and then you guys kind of move along at whatever pace you may. Can you tell me a little bit about something that was difficult for you in your training, whether it be a type of maneuver or a concept or even just like a way of learning? Was there something that you're like, I'm gonna have to put a little extra effort here? Is there anything that comes to mind?
I think for me it was is I specifically remember in instrument.
Hmm.
I had started instrument. I think I was probably a week or so into it,
Okay.
and I was sitting in one of the study rooms
Yeah.
studying with a friend of mine, and I was like, I have no clue how they expect me to understand any of this. I don't know how anybody ever has understood this.
You,
It
you,
felt like learning a foreign language to me.
wow. What training
Um,
did you say?
Instrument.
Instrument. Okay.
Yeah, and after I just kept after it. I kept studying.
Hmm.
My instructor helped me a ton. The ground courses, studying with people, having a bunch of different ideas coming at me and
Yeah.
trying to help me understand it. It clicked and it kicked over, and then I was like, "Oh, okay, this makes sense."
Okay.
And I got through that rating after it clicked relatively efficiently.
Okay.
So yeah,
Gotcha. I'm wondering because you had private before instrument. I'm sure you felt some of that too. Do you feel like it hit you harder on instrument, the water hose effect?
Um, I would say
I say that because a lot of people say private is difficult for them.
private was a lot, especially
Yeah.
since you're coming into it and it's a little bit of everything. You don't
Right.
know anything, especially if you start like I did.
Uh-huh.
I knew nothing.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
starting like that, it did feel like a lot.
Hmm.
It felt more. I think instrument was more manageable because I already had kind of an idea of how to learn and
Right.
how to learn in aviation,
Right.
how to study, all those kinds of things. So I already had that idea.
Okay.
So private was a lot also.
Yeah.
Yeah, those first couple ratings were a lot on me.
Yeah.
After that, the ball was rolling and I kept
Obvious.
getting through. So
Makes sense. Okay. And an instrument, it gets pretty technical. Was there a particular concept in there that was a little, I don't know, was there anything particular in there?
I'm gonna be honest. I can't really remember if there was
Okay.
a specific concept that really got me.
Okay.
It felt like it was just a lot all at once for me,
Okay. Okay.
and so I had to break it down myself to learn everything piece by piece. You can't eat an elephant whole; you have to eat it bite by bite, right?
Yeah. Right.
So I broke it down piece by piece, and I ended up it worked out for me, and it made sense, and I got through it.
Yeah. From talking to you guys, it sounds like the hard part for me would be an instrument. I would imagine that there's like clear guidelines on exactly how to do things. Whereas maybe in private or even instrument, there's a little bit more of a nuance that you get to operate within sometimes. I don't know if that's true. I guess what I'm trying to say is you have to do things exactly right in instrument. Is that true what I'm saying? Is
Yeah,
there a little bit more wiggle room in the other ones? Not that there's not standards, but
yeah,
yeah, I don't
yeah. I
know.
mean, in a sense, yeah. And that's the nice thing about instrument is, somebody told me they were like, as soon as you get it, like a lot of it's just understanding like how the different things work, memorizing all
Okay.
the pieces, the regulations, how to do
Hmm.
this, how to do that, where you
Hmm.
have to be here. As soon as you get all that, it's really just doing what you're told to do. So
Okay.
you just fly it. It's all procedural stuff.
I guess that's what I would say.
Yeah, it's just
Procedural
doing
is.
what you're told to do. So as soon as you get all of that basic knowledge,
Uh huh.
it's just doing what you're told to do.
Okay.
It's not terrible.
Yeah.
Uh,
Was it a little heavier in the books than the other ratings?
I think so. Yeah, instruments very knowledge heavy.
Yeah.
Knowledge heavy. Of course, in the VFR ratings, you're mainly focused. Of course, there's still ground knowledge that you have to get for private and commercial, CFI, all those things.
Yeah.
But definitely an instrument, it's very, very knowledge heavy.
Hmm.
And yeah.
Yeah. Um, in high school, and I want to zoom out just a little bit.
Yeah.
Uh, Obviously, you went to high school, right?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
Did you have a certain plan after high school, and what did you do after high school?
Funny thing about that. So I was planning on going to college. I was planning on going to UNT.
Okay.
And
UNT
then a
school.
week before graduating, I joined the military and I gave up on UNT and went into the military.
Yeah. Was that
So
kind of impulsive?
yeah, you can
Okay.
kind of sense a trend with me, huh? Yeah, it's a
I'm that way. I
yeah,
understand. But you're saying you went into the military like
I
right
did.
at yeah.
Yeah, right away. And then yeah, I didn't really have a big plan for my life at that
Hmm.
point. I had no clue what I wanted to do, and if you had asked me when I was 18 years old, or if you had told me that, hey, you're going to be flying airplanes and somebody's going to be paying you to fly airplanes, I would have thought that was insane. That was
You
like
would
the
have believed them.
furthest thing from being on my radar. So,
Yeah.
uh,
Okay. And I guess I asked that because I feel like there's like those years. I felt similarly. I guess a lot of people were like, "Oh, what am I doing? I'm just kind of guessing here," and I don't like guessing either. If I'm gonna guess, I'm gonna like go somewhere where I feel like I know I'm gonna get something out of it. Personally, going to school out of high school, I was like, kind of just doing it because I'm told to. Um, so I'm wondering about for people who are not sure that college is for them, or maybe they've struggled in high school a little bit with some of the studying and things like that. I don't know if you did or not, but you went a different route. I'm wondering what you would say to someone who's thinking, is aviation maybe a little bit of a good alternative to going into furthering your education in a university, or what would you say to something like that?
I think that's a very situational to the person
I
kind
agree.
of answer.
Yeah.
And like I'll use my situation for example.
Right.
Um, and I went and did the military thing for 6 years.
Right.
I came out. I was 24 when I came in and started here. Um, I had grown a lot. I had matured quite a bit. I tried college a couple times during there. It didn't work for me. That wasn't my thing.
Yeah.
Um, so I tried a bunch of different routes,
Right.
and consistently the military, and it kind of matured me and got me out of there.
Yeah.
And I know it's hard, especially when you're 18, to be like, especially committed to something.
Right.
Especially committing to something like this is a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
So I would say just make sure it's what you want to do. Do your research, get as prepared as you can.
Yeah.
Understand what you're getting into. If you feel like you're ready, I would say go for it. Yeah,
Yeah.
do it.
Um, I think that aligns with a lot of what people have said, even when they have gone to college.
Hmm.
I think a lot of people do something before coming here.
Yeah,
Not everyone. We have a lot of young people come in, and kudos to them because me coming here at 18, I couldn't imagine. Yeah,
I
like
would
you
have been a
said,
mess.
yeah, and I talk to students. You can see on previous episodes where I've talked to students, and then I've talked to them again as a CFI, and you can see the change in them. And it's not the sort of change that I think a lot of people go their whole lives without going through some of those changes. I think aviation really has to push you. Things like the military obviously has to really push you. I think college really pushes people finishing college. I didn't finish college, but I've had people say that they're glad they went to college, even if they never used a degree before they came here, because it taught them a lot of skills about whether it be responsibility or communication or studying and things like that. So that's what brings us full circle for me is that I wanted to ask you about how when you got here, realizing how in the books it is sometimes and how knowledgeable you have to be about things and how much you have to honestly study well. Um, and being someone who may have not been good at that before or didn't want to do the school thing before, how did you adapt to that? And
yeah.
did it catch you off guard?
I think I knew it was going to be pretty heavy,
Hmm.
for the studying and the knowledge side of things.
Yeah.
I uh, I I definitely think when in my in high school stuff like that, I was pretty I wasn't great at the studying. I
Hmm.
wasn't really. I think that was also a thing. I wasn't as interested in it, but being here, this is the coolest thing in the world. Learning, I get to learn about planes, learn about being a pilot, all these great things. And so that really drove me. I would just study all day, every day if I could. I loved learning about it, and it kept me
Hmm.
going. Uh, so yeah.
And again, maybe I'm gonna do this again. Personal question here.
Yeah.
I've questioned if whether or not it was really because I was interested or if I was lazy. In high school, I thought maybe I'm like, am I lazy or something? I know I'm not interested, but are these guys that much more interested in me? How come I can't lock in like that? And maybe again, situational.
Yeah.
Um, did you ever feel like maybe before I just did you question why you weren't able to do it or didn't do it anyways?
I think I knew.
Okay,
I
okay,
think I just didn't.
okay.
I didn't study.
Okay.
It wasn't great, and I don't recommend being like that.
Yeah,
Definitely if you're in high school, please study and do the best you can.
you get a lot out of it if you
You
do it.
do, and I think I learned that that was also a maturity thing for me.
Yeah.
I matured a lot over those 6 years,
Okay.
and I realized, if I really want something
Okay.
out of this, I'm gonna have to give it my all. And
Mm,
so coming into this, I was ready to give it everything I had and
mm.
see what it gave me back, and
Okay.
it paid off.
And I
So
think I think what you said just now is another factor out of being interested in it. Also, if you just want something out of it, which is you can be interested in that if you don't even like the thing that much. And I think when I was younger, if I thought about it that way, well, can I get the most out of my school? Maybe I could have been motivated, but I'm that way too. I have to be very interested in things. Okay, well, I want to ask you about your favorite part of flying. We've talked about all this stuff, this whole journey, some of the difficulties. Uh, you fly often. You've been flying for you're coming up on a year now,
a little
right?
over a year,
A
yeah.
little over a year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you did 10 months in the program, and then yeah, that's
Yeah.
long. You're right.
Yeah.
Um, do you still enjoy it? Does it get boring?
No, it's not boring. Not yet. It's
Yeah.
the best thing in the world. Every day is different. Um, getting up there and flying, especially with students, like every day is going to be different. There's always going to be a new challenge
Yeah.
for you to try to figure out. Each student's going to be different, so you're going to have to figure out how to come across to that student
Mm-hmm.
and teach them the different things. And also, I mean, flying an airplane every day,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
So I'm definitely not bored. I'm excited to wake up every day, come here, and
Mm-hmm.
even if it's just ground lessons, like helping these guys out and getting them better at what they want to do and where they want to go in their life.
Yeah.
I think it's the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have a hobby before this?
A hobby?
Something you did for fun? Something that was, I don't know, a craft or something you did?
Not really. I worked a ton before I came
You
here.
worked a lot. That
I
was
did
your
work
thing.
a
You did
ton.
say that.
I worked. I worked a lot. I didn't
You
really
have a
have a lot of
family.
time. I do have
Yeah.
a family. I have a kid. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And that's even more of a brave step to come towards here when you have a kid also. I can imagine.
It is.
Yeah.
It was a big motivator with the kid.
Okay.
Getting through. I have to get through this so I can start working again, start taking care of my family.
Mhm.
Now we have another one on the way, so we're gonna end up here with two.
Congratulations.
So thank you.
That's awesome.
So it's moving towards that goal and taking care of my family that was a huge motivator for me. I mean, besides the fact that I love flying airplanes and this is awesome,
Mhm.
I really want to take care of them, and this is the best path for that,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
The perspective is interesting because some people would say, "I have a family, man. I can't do that." It's different though. You're saying it's motivating you to do it, and I think that's cool.
Yeah,
Um,
I think that's a
yeah,
situational thing too.
yeah,
With if it's going to work for your family, right?
right,
Now we did a lot of planning before we came here, and we were prepared to come into this. With
yeah,
especially the financial thing, like me going to school and not working for a year. Um,
D-
my wife's a stay-at-home mom, so preparing for that, it took a lot of planning, a lot of
mhm,
effort,
mhm.
and
Is she still stay at home mom through
she's
this
still a
process?
stay-at-home mom. Yeah,
Okay, that's
yeah,
amazing. How did you? I mean, like you said, it's situational. I don't know how much
yeah,
detail you can go into, but I want to ask, how did you do that? I mean, you saved a bunch of money ahead of time, have a little bit of support,
yeah.
take out enough on the loan, that kind of thing.
There's a little bit of all of it. Yeah, a
Okay.
little bit of all of it, and
You take out these big loans. I don't know if that's what you did, and but you take out these big loans. You know that there's going to be this point in your journey where you're looking to get a job to work as hopefully a CFI, probably because it builds hours quicker and you get to become a better pilot. But in that period, you know that you're not necessarily still making the money that you're going to need to be making. How do you account for that in your planning? And and maybe there's not a straight answer there, but can I ask that to you?
yeah.
Yeah.
How did we account for it? We accounted for it. I'm going to work very hard
Okay.
is part of it. A little bit of money saved got us through it,
Okay.
but working very hard
Mhm.
and doing whatever we can
Mhm.
to keep our family going and
Yeah.
keeping them afloat. Just being prepared to do that, whatever you can, to take care of your family, and I think that should just be a general thing.
Okay.
Um, if you really want to take care of them. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Do you is and is there a part of you that accepts that there's a bit of a gray area you have to work within at this point? I guess I asked that because I've thought about what it would look like to do such a thing, right? And I'm thinking, man, you kind of just got to go for it at that point. That's not the area where you have all your ducks in a row necessarily. That's where the grind is. That's a different kind of grind.
yes, yeah,
Okay.
that's a big thing. There
Okay.
is a gray area, and there's a lot of
Unknown.
unknown. Yeah, it's all unexpected. You don't know what's going to happen once you get to that point, and that was part of the weight on my shoulders trying to get a CFI job is I need to take care of my family like
Mhm.
now.
Yeah.
So that's yet again, you have to be ready to work hard and get to where you want to be,
Yeah.
because it's going to be a little tight, and you're going to go into this area of unknown.
And I keep harping on it. When you have that conversation and you talk
Yeah,
about this sort of thing, you both kind of accept that, right? That it's just we're gonna figure it out there. That's a different. That's I think is I don't know.
yeah. No, I think
How do you still make that decision? Some people that's what holds them back. Is
yeah.
what I'm trying to get at.
That's all going to be situational, and
Okay.
like I said, it's with me and my wife. We've been really I'm blessed to have her.
That's
She's
awesome.
always been very supportive, and we're ready to go into anything together.
Yeah.
And we were prepared. We didn't know exactly how everything would look, and
Yeah.
it started falling in place. And we're like, okay, we can see this a little clearer.
Okay.
But we were ready to go into it together and figure it out as we went.
Okay.
So I can only speak on my situation, but I'm very glad that we have that great relationship that we're able to do that together.
Awesome. Okay. Well, that's the
Yeah.
last time I'm gonna harp on that one. I just like to figure it out because no matter what, if you guys are listening and you've thought about doing flight training, it may or may not be for you. That's always going to be for you to decide. I just think it's interesting to see how other people make the decision to do it.
Mhm.
And I hope you guys, if you're listening, you've gotten a lot out of this podcast. Appreciate you guys for sitting down
Yeah. Thank you.
with us. I think it's been a good conversation. If you guys are still listening, you liked it enough to watch this far, subscribing really helps our channel reach more people who are interested in this sort of thing. Of course, comment if you have any questions for either of us, especially Guy. I'll try to forward the comments if he doesn't check them out himself. Maybe you will. And of course, liking helps the video perform well. Thank you guys for tuning in on this week for Pilots Say What, where we get to hear what pilots have to say. And in this case, it was Guy. We'll see you guys next week on the next episode.